We're going to dive into some really cool neuroscience today, all about creativity. And here's the surprising part. The key to your next big idea? It probably isn't more focus or grinding it out at your desk. It's actually something a whole lot quieter.
So let's just start with this question, because I know you've been there. You're staring at a problem for hours, right? Getting absolutely nowhere. And then the second you step into the shower or you're just out for a walk, bam, the perfect answer just pops into your head. Why does that happen?
You know, we're always told that innovation comes from just grinding, right? More brainstorming, more effort. But it turns out neuroscience tells a totally different story. The real secret to unlocking your creativity isn't about adding more noise. It's about finding the silence. It all comes down to this really special network in your brain. And here's the kicker. It only wakes up when you stop trying so hard.
Okay, so to really get how this works, we need to understand that your brain basically has two main ways of operating. The easiest way to picture it, just think of a seesaw in your head, always tipping back and forth between two different modes.
All right, so on one side of that seesaw, you've got the doer. Its fancy name is the Task Positive Network, or TPN. This is your brain when it's focused, answering emails, crunching numbers, even listening to me right now. But on the other side, you have the connector, the Default Mode Network, or DMN. This is your brain's internal, wandering mind. And here's the crucial part. Just like a real seesaw, when one side is up, the other one is always down. They can't both be active at the same time.
You know, for the longest time, scientists kind of thought that when you weren't focusing on something, your brain just went idle, like putting a car in neutral. But it turns out that's completely wrong. When you stop focusing on the world outside, your brain doesn't shut down for a second. Nope, it just switches gears and lights up with a totally different kind of activity.
So what in the world is your brain actually doing in this so-called default mode? Well, there's a really great way to think about it, a metaphor that makes it all click: the night shift librarian.
Okay, picture your brain as this huge, sprawling library. All day long, while you're focused, your doer network is just frantically taking in new books. That's all the new information and data you're consuming. But the default mode network, that's the librarian who comes in on the night shift after all the noise has died down. This librarian doesn't bring in any new books. Instead, their job is to wander the quiet aisles, put things back where they belong, and most importantly, notice these strange, unexpected connections between books that were left on completely different shelves.
So that aha moment you had in the shower, yeah, that was your night shift librarian finally getting the peace and quiet they needed to connect two ideas that you never would have put together. That right there, that is where creativity is born.
Okay, but here's the big problem, right? In our modern world, we've basically created a crisis of constant noise. We've locked the library doors and told the night shift librarian they can never ever come in to do their job.
Let's be honest, we are terrified of being bored. We've basically declared an all-out war on any moment of quiet. The second there's a tiny gap in stimulation, what do? We rush to fill it with, well, anything.
I mean, just think about your day. You're waiting for an elevator. You're in line for coffee. You're walking to your car. What's the one thing we all do? We pull out our phones. Every single one of those little gaps gets filled. Podcasts, social media, news alerts. We are keeping our doer network, that task positive network, running red hot from the moment we wake up till the moment we go to sleep.
And the result of all this? It's pretty straightforward. The default mode network never gets a chance to switch on. The librarian never gets to work. So you end up with a brain that is just overflowing with information, but completely starved of actual insight. You know that feeling? You feel busy all the time, but you don't feel creative at all.
So what do we do about this? How do we fix it? Well, the good news is you don't have to go on some week-long silent retreat or anything that drastic. It's actually much simpler. You just need to start intentionally building these little pockets of silence into your day. Think of them as silence sandwiches. This is all about reframing how we think about downtime. Mind wandering isn't lazy. It isn't a lack of focus. When you do it on purpose, it's an incredibly productive state for your brain. You're basically creating a little protected space for your mind to just wander. And that's where the magic happens.
So here are 3 really simple things you can try. Seriously, try one this week. First, the input-free transition. That just means when you're walking between meetings or heading to your car, just fight that urge to check your phone, just for a couple minutes. Second, try some productive staring. When you get stuck on a problem, literally turn away from your screen and just stare at a blank wall for 5 minutes. I know, it feels weird and unproductive, but it's like a powerful reset button for your brain. And finally, number 3, the silent commute. A couple of times a week, just drive home with no radio, no podcasts, no nothing. Just let your mind do its thing.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's this. Stop treating silence like it's this empty space that you have to fill up. It's not. It's the exact opposite. It's the rich, fertile soil where your best ideas are just waiting for enough quiet to finally sprout. So give your brain a break. Let the librarian get to work. I promise the results will absolutely surprise you.